All right, these are my recaps for game two of the conference finals. Let's get started. First off, here we had the Celtics and the Pacers. This game was a lot more of a blowout here than game one was. The first half was fairly close. Um, it was only a 2 point game at the end of the first quarter, only a 6 point game at halftime. But then it ended up being a 13 point game at the start of the fourth quarter, and then Boston, kept control there for the rest of that fourth quarter. So, pretty good performance here for Boston. Shot 53% from field, 40% from three, but the Pacers were right there with them, 52% from the field and 38% on threes. So, a majority of what went wrong for the Pacers in this game is they had 16 turnovers compared to Boston's 10. So, not a good look there. They also shot only 69% on free throws, which is not great. If they would have made a couple more free throws, definitely would have been a little bit closer of a game here. Another thing to mention is that Tyrese Halliburton did tweak his hamstring, did not play for the majority of the second half, missed the entire fourth quarter. Finished with only 10 points in this game. But yeah, they're definitely going to need Tyrese Halliburton back here. For game three, he is officially listed as questionable, so hopefully he's able to play because if he does not play here in game three, um, the Celtics will likely be winning that as well. And then Celtics go up 3-0. They're definitely going to end up winning this series here. So the Pacers, outside of Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam was amazing in this game. 28 points on 13 to 17 shooting. Andrew Nembhard had 16 points. He was pretty good as well. But their offense was not bad. The only thing they really got to worry about is their turnovers still. 16 turnovers is too much. And of course, going into game three, they're going to hope that Tyrese Halliburton is back because I do not think they really have any shot of winning if Tyrese Halliburton is not playing. For Boston, they had a bunch of guys play really good. Three guys were up above 20 points. They had five guys over 10 points, so really good performances all around here for Boston. Jaylen Brown actually had 40 points in this game. He was really good. Jason Tatum had 23. Holiday had 15 points with 10 assists on 6 of 7 shooting, so he was great. And Derek White had 23 points himself. So, yeah, a bunch of really good performances here offensively for Boston. And their defense wasn't amazing, but, did what they can. It doesn't really matter. They don't have to play amazing defense because their offense, has just been so good so far this series. And, of course, without Tyrese Halliburton here for game three, potentially, Boston's looking really, really good here going into it. Jrue Holiday, though, is also listed as questionable with an illness, so it gives Indiana a little bit more hope, especially if Halliburton plays and Jrue Holiday doesn't, because if that happened, I might actually think Indiana would win game three if Halliburton plays and Holiday doesn't, but ultimately, if both those guys are playing, I'm probably still going to take Boston in this game and probably going to roll with Boston in 5 from here on out. If Tyrese Halliburton can play, at least in game four, I think Indiana wins game four if Halliburton plays. But if Halliburton does not play at all in this series, I might take Boston here in 4. All right, next up we got Dallas and Minnesota. This one was a dogfight. Very much kind of the same game as game one here, back and forth basically throughout the entirety of the game. Minnesota actually was up by 12 points at halftime, so it looked like they had a little bit of control here going in the second half. But then the Mavericks kind of pulled it out here and started playing really good there in the second half and capped it off with a Luka game-winning shot here with about 3 seconds left. He got switched. He got Rudy Gobert switched onto him and then hit a step-back three kind of in Rudy Gobert's face. So that was a really good, play there for Luka Doncic. And, that put him up by 1 point. And then, Minnesota was not able to do anything when they had like 3 seconds left and was not able to do anything with the ball. So not a great look there for Minnesota to kind of have that late game collapse here, especially since both those games were at Minnesota. Now Dallas having a 2-0 lead going into Dallas is a really good look, but Minnesota was also up 2 games to 0 over Denver when they were on the road both games. So and that series still ended up going to 7 games. So I'm not going to count out a 7-game series with this one. I'd probably predict right now a 6-game series with Dallas winning. But I still would not count out Minnesota winning here at 7. But yeah, overall in this game, Dallas shot 49% from the field. Minnesota was 41%, so pretty big difference there for Dallas. They both shot 39% on three, which is pretty good. Both had about 10 and 9 turnovers, so turnovers were pretty even. Yeah, this game was pretty much even throughout the entire game. Minnesota had 11 more free throws in this game, just Dallas shot 8% better from the field, which was kind of the difference here. But again, yeah, it was only 1 point game, so obviously it was a really close stats there. Dallas had 5 different guys have double-digit points. Luka had 32, 10, and 13. Kyrie Irving put up 20 points himself. Derek Lively had 14 points on 6 of 6 shooting, so some really good looks there for Dallas's offense. And for Minnesota, there was a little bit more concerning there. Naz Reid put up 23 points off the bench on 7 and 9 shooting from the 3-point line, so he was amazing in this game. Gobert had 16 points and 10 boards. Mike Conley, 18, 5, and 5. The one thing you got to really worry about is that Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards shot a combined 9 of 33 in this game. Cat was 4 of 16. Anthony Edwards was 5 of 17. So not a good look there for what's supposed to be your two best players here in this series, at least your two best offensive players, and neither one of them was really good in this game. You cannot be relying on Naz Reid, to be leading your team in scoring and expect to get a lot of wins here in this series. But with that said, I do think Anthony Edwards will kind of step up here in game 3 and 4, and maybe even win, both of those games. He has not been particularly good in either of these first two games, shooting 11 for 33 combined, and Karl-Anthony Towns here in the first two games of this series is shooting a combined 10 of 36. So both those guys combined are shooting 21 of 69 in this series, which is not a good percentage. I believe, 21 of 69 combined is only 30% this series. So your two best offensive players are shooting a combined 30% from the field in this series. Not a good look. I would expect both those guys to be able to do better here in games 3 and game 4. But there's really not a whole lot of signs pointing towards believing in them because they're down 2-0 and they got to go on the road for 2 more games. So Dallas very well could, end up sweeping them here at Dallas. But, I would still probably pick Minnesota to win at least one of those games and then win game 5 at home. And then Dallas probably takes it in game 6. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back later for an updated recap list video. Make sure to check out my UFL videos as well.